Aphrodisiacs, ants and 1 million investors facing ruin. The collapse of a giant pyramid selling scheme is taking the gloss off China's roaring economy. Government officials endorsed a company which got people to buy boxes of insects to rear at home for a promised 30% return. The ants were ingredients in health products, including a version of Viagra. Protests by angry investors, most of whom lost their life savings, were crushed. But some victims are threatening to disrupt this summer's Olympic Games. Our China correspondent Lindsey Hilsum travelled to the northeastern city of Shenyang to investigate.
Yilishen, the magic power of ants, promoted on TV in northeastern China. Ant products, it was promised, will bring health and cure impotence. Better than that, if you invest in the company, you'll become successful like CEO Wang Fengyou. He persuaded more than 1 million Chinese to buy boxes of ants to rear for Yilishen, with the promise of massive profit. The people of this bleak village have lost 8 million yuan, about £500,000. They paid Yilishen for boxes of ants. The company promised that after a year they'd collect the now dead insects and give the villagers a 30% return on their money. Now the scheme's collapsed, the government's threatening to arrest anyone who talks to journalists. So we're disguising their identity.
In 2006, the government gave Wang Fengyou 4 million yuan for being a major taxpayer, and in 2004, an award for being one of the top 10 entrepreneurs. He made many appearances on TV, so we began to have faith in him. Since he was trusted by the government, we all began farming ants for him.
They showed us glossy booklets featuring CEO Wang with government officials, including former Commerce Minister Bo Xilai, proof of his guanxi, his connections. This family put more than £10,000, their whole life savings, into buying these boxes of ants. They did it because they thought the company was endorsed by the government. Government officials said this was a legitimate enterprise, when it was clearly a scam. State TV even broadcast a science program about Yilishen's ants. But Wang Fengyou was getting worried. Last year, before he went bankrupt, he sought advice from experts in Beijing, including academic Zhong Dajun.
Countless government officials have dealt with Yilishen and benefited from it, which greatly increased the company's overheads. It had to spend lots of money in bribes to clear paths. Where did the money come from? It couldn't make enough from its products, so it had to continue collecting money from the ant farmers.
China's tallest man endorsed Yilishen ant products, part of the cult of celebrity Wang Fengyou used to convince peasants and laid-off factory workers to part with their savings. And then, last November, the company failed to pay out. Angry investors demonstrated outside the government offices in Shenyang. They surreptitiously filmed their protest. Many were arrested, others beaten by police, determined to stop any more coming out onto the streets. Wang Fengyou's arrest was shown on local Shenyang TV. He was charged not with fraud, but with disrupting public order and interrupting the traffic. He made a public confession that he'd called people onto the streets.
I don't have any money to give them. I came up with this very bad idea. I no longer have the money to go on, to give back to the ant farmers. I asked them to cause problems for the government, to put pressure on the government to reduce the pressure on me.
In a cramped apartment in Shenyang, a 69-year-old investor shows us the ants she used to feed with egg yolk, cake and sugar water. She's lost all her savings and her sister's, about £7,000.
I can't sleep at night. I get sick from thinking about this all day long. I'm going crazy. When I'm alone, I cry. All my pension, all my money to pay hospital bills, it's all gone. I have nothing left.
The villagers we met were briefly arrested the next day. They've been told that if there's a government compensation scheme, those who go public will get nothing. One desperate investor tried to slit her wrists. Another set himself on fire near Tiananmen Square. Others are threatening to disrupt the Beijing Olympics. Yilishen's factory is deserted, the lone statue of an ant outside. The headquarters have been abandoned. Investors have been told to register by next month, but signs are they'll get little or no compensation. The demise of Yilishen shows how China's get-rich-quick economy is shaped by relationships with officials, not regulation. By blaming Wang Fengyou and suppressing information, the Chinese government hopes to quash further protest. There's little they fear more than 1 million people with nothing left to lose. Lindsey Hilsum, Channel 4 News, Shenyang.